Right, what have I got today? Boosh! It's another precision screwdriver. This happens to be the J2002 by, I think it is Niu Xiang, but the Chinese viewers, which I have quite a lot, can correct my pronunciation on that one. We'll put it to the side just for a second because I want to show you, I have quite a few precision drivers now, so this isn't the usual drivers where you would get the 1/4 inch. This happens to be a Wiha here, so the 1/4 inch, that's what you would normally get with the 1/4 inches there, and they all fit the other 1/4 inch drivers absolutely fine. When it comes to precision, they are smaller because obviously the heads are going to be smaller. So here's an old set here that I just happen to use for work. Well, I used to. I mean, I have stuff all over the stuff in different places and different bags and vehicles and all sorts of things. So your precision heads are smaller. So they're no longer 1/4 inch. They are the 4mm type. So if we take one of these out and just compare it. And I know a lot of people already know this, but there's your 1/4 inch. Now look at the difference there. So that goes way down. So these are 4mm, and they're all standard, so they will go in another precision driver, and that's the important thing there. So get that out of the way, boosh. But I just wanted to cover that just so people know. And I just did a review recently, and I wish I'd known about this product because I was very impressed. This was the Hoto. This was the, I think it was a 37-in-1 or something like that. Beautiful little driver, very cheap, and it had the little magnetic carousel in there. Again, lovely double-ended heads there, stamped, work perfectly, still works now. I have this in I put it in with my mini ratchets, and I do use this, and I think it's beautiful and really nice, and a nice spinny head look. Whee, look at that, beautiful. So with that in mind, and I'll show you some other things as I go along. I mean, I've got other sets that I used to use. Here's an old horrible one. I think I got this from the dollar store, something embarrassing like that. They're all similar heads though. So this is the new, I think it's Niu Xiang, I think that's how it's pronounced, and it is the J2002. 37-in-1, they call it 37-in-1, but don't go, brilliant, 37 bits. Well, it's not 37 bits, it's 37 piece. So you get 36 pieces, and then you get the driver itself. So I'll put it back in the box. I have used it, obviously, so I know what I'm talking about here, but I put it back exactly as I got it, just so you can see how it comes. So it comes in a box, and it has all the bits on the back there, so I will quickly show you. I've done this in 4K HDR, the highest quality I can get away with. So you get T, which is your Torx, so you get Torx 2, 3, 4. Now look at the difference here. You get normal Torx, and then you see you get the security Torx, and the security Torx, the ones with that irritating bit in the middle. So if you haven't got a security Torx, they're a nightmare. You've either got to take your bit and try and drill that, or there's ways of getting around it, but it's a nuisance. So you have the H just denominates that, has the hole on it. So T5, 6, 8, loads of them with the security on. That's nice to see, good. Then you have an SO, SO1, S, and then that's inside 0, which they just means square. Some people might call it Robertsons. It depends whether you're from North America or Canada and things like that. In this country, we don't generally see a lot of Robertson bits. They do exist on old furniture, but I see them less. So you have a 0 and a 1. You have that, which it doesn't really say what it is. That looks like an offset me. I think they're used on iPhones. You just get 1, 2.5 there, which I presume is used on most of them. Then you have your SL, just stands for slotted. So you have 1.5, 2, 2.5, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to go through every single one of these, but I'm just going to give you a quick description. Then you have hex. I don't know why it doesn't have an H, but hex. You've got those 0.9 upwards there, and then you have that. It's not an oval. That is, if I think it's the class, it is an owl. Some of them it isn't. An owl is to make holes and things. That is actually for SIM ejection on mobile phones. Then you have the U. It doesn't have a U, but it is because the head looks like a U and it has the 2 little pins that go in, and you can rotate the head like that. Then you have your Phillips, all the way down to 000, nice. So when you're working on precision stuff, you really need it down to that level. So you've got the 000, double, single, and then all the way up to 1. You don't really want to be going any higher in a precision set. That's fine. Then you have the Ys. I don't really come across them. And then you have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's pentalobe. So if you remember, Torx is 6, then your pentalobe. You sometimes see those on Apple products and things like that. And then you have a couple of the triangle heads, which again I don't see so often these days. So that's the box there. Other than that, very nondescript. Shows you the heads, and that's the item there itself. So it looks quite interesting, doesn't it? It looks like some sort of futuristic device. So nothing else in the box, get rid of that. And it came with this on. I put this back on just so you can see. So here's the item itself. Rather beautiful. I like how they designed this. There's a cutout here, so you can easily take the lid off. They've thought about that. And then it's ribbed here. So that's very tactile. I like that. And it actually aids in grip. In regards to retention, it is retaining the lid by 1, 2, 3 or 4 magnets here. I like magnet lids, but I also don't like them. So if you remember, I complained about the iFixit small. This was the Maria set, the one with the eel on it. They use 4 magnets. That's fine on a desk and things like that, and it looks nice, and yeah, it's dead cool. But in a bag, I'm not so keen, because unless it's packed with other stuff, there's a chance they can open, because they're never that powerful, and then bits all over. Not what I want. So it's good and bad when it comes to magnetic retention, and these magnets are on this about on par with the iFixit. They're okay, but okay for me isn't good enough. So just bear that in mind. If you're going to be whacking this in and out of bags, you need to think about it. Maybe it's put an elastic band round. That's all you need, an elastic band. I mean, you can put a little lanyard through here. You can actually secure it. So what I was thinking of doing was putting something through here like a zip tie to secure it, so you can only open it like that instead of taking the whole thing off. And it would like flip down like that, and then maybe have some sort of other retention method here where I can just clip it in. Maybe use like some sort of night eyes system, because I use the night eyes on my 128GB here. This is my small one. I've got a much larger one. So I was wondering if I could like click something like that through. No, not on that one. I probably need one of the larger ones. I do have some larger ones in the other bag, so I might try that. And it means it's probably not going to open, and I'll be zip tie and then do that. But if it's on a desk, it's absolutely fine like this. And on a desk, it looks pretty good. It's got the rubber feet, so very impressed. So we'll get this open, and like I say, 37 in one, well, 36 bits, and then the driver. So we'll get this open, and as you can see, look, you've got the magnetic retention there, and this is just like a clear plastic. So here's the item itself. So isn't that rather beautiful? Quite heavy, so nice though, plenty of bits, and I like that. And what I do like is, if you look at the way that they have color coded the tips here, it's similar to what Wiha do. I've got a load of Wiha hex and Torx Allen keys, and they use the same system, and it does actually help. I've worked on certain equipment where I know I need 3 different colors, and I can quickly go at them. It does actually work. When I first got them, I thought, oh, well, that's a gimmick. Who cares what colour's on them? It does actually work. Not so much on this, although it does differentiate the type. So all the yellows are, a hex. All the pinks are this. But then, of course, it breaks down, because you go, okay, all the pinks are Robertsons. Well, no, they're not. All the pinks are Robertsons and a triangle and a U. Well, okay, so I like that, but then they haven't really thought it through. I mean, in this regard, you can see you've got Torx, but then it doesn't differentiate the security Torx from the normal Torx, which is a bit weird. And then all the slotted are black and red. It feels like a second thought they've done that and then thought, oh no, we've run out of colour. Has anyone got any more paint? Jack, have you got any more paint at the back of the factory? No, right, make everything pink. That'll do. We've got a load of pink we can't get rid of. So that's a little bit unfortunate. You could change that yourself. It's not the end of the world. In regards to the driver, very nice. So I shall show you that. It's a nice machined item. So let's get a nice close look. I've done this in 4K, the highest quality I can get away with. So let's have a good look at it. So there's your head. It's quite nice. I mean, there's a few little dings on it. Can you see on the ridge here? You see there's a few little dings on there. I mean, I have used it. I didn't do that though. That was straight out the box. I mean, some of these are actually flakes of stuff, because I found a few little flakes on here and one on here. So I'm presuming they are machined stuff, because I thought, well, that doesn't seem to stick. It does now that I've fixed it. But some of these bits and pieces are just like machine dust and stuff. I mean, they are genuine dings there. Listen, you can hear my thumb hitting that one. There was also some dings down here. If you look down there, you've got this beautiful spiral design. Beautiful, beautiful. And then when you get there, it's not so beautiful. It becomes a bit ugly, doesn't it? Look down there. It looks like someone's went, yeah, I give up now. Let's come out of the machine. We'll just ram that on. So not a lot of care in putting this together. They've banged the high spots of there. So you've got burrs, and there's the one. And nicks. I mean, I could probably get to work with some files and things, but that's not really what this review is about. So there's the driver itself. It has this enlarged swell section here. Now that section it's hard to see, but it's almost like a powder coat. I don't think it is. It looks maybe it's like an anodization, but it's got a texture to it, very slight, which is good, because that's what you need, because that's the tactile bit that you're going to be using to maneuver left and right. So rather nice, fits in the palm lovely. The cap goes in there. You can use it like that. I've used it like that, and I've also used it like that, where I actually grip that, I mean, in regards to smoothness, it's lovely. Watch this. So we'll compare this to the. Now, bear in mind, there's a difference here. This is the cheap iFixit one. But if you remember, I complained about this head. Watch. Listen to that. It doesn't. It's not free spinning. And listen. Rough. And when you take that off, if you remember, I whinged and complained and went, "Oh, there's rough bits and it needs sanding down." And I wasn't so happy. It felt cheap. Whereas on this, watch. Look at that. That's absolutely fantastic. What a difference in comparison. Watch. Now, there is a little bit of noise because you're thinking, well, hang on, he just whinged about noise. I think the reason there's noise is because this is using a ball bearing system. So, I mean, I used to do a lot of skateboarding, not now, I'm an adult, but I used to do a lot of skateboarding, and that feels to me when I've done lockpicking and all sorts of stuff, so I've got quite a good sense of touch, and when that moves, I get the sensation that there is a set of ball bearings. I mean, I'm not intelligent enough or clever enough to tell you how many, but it just has that feel where there's a ever so almost imperceptible detent in the movement. But that feels to me, and then the sound is similar to like the good sort of bearings. I don't think they're ceramic or anything like that, but listen. And that's brilliant. And because of that, it's super smooth when you use it. Beautiful. There is almost no friction there. I'm not hearing anything or feeling anything. Look. Beautiful. So it's really nice to use. It's just a shame that they've scuffed that up. I wish they hadn't done that. But again, if you're knocking out a load at really cheap prices in a factory, sometimes workers just so think, well, I just want to get them out and get on with my day, and I get that. So in regards to the actual bits, they are, I mean, they're pretty good actually. This is your head where you're going to put the bits in. It's quite deep, which I was happy to see. Now, the bits themselves are magnetically retained, so watch. You wouldn't normally do this. So you can actually turn it upside down, excuse me, and they will not come out because, and I'll show you, magnetic. Now listen, I'll even do it at an angle. See how the magnet's pulling it in? Pulls it in. So beautiful, really, really nice. Nice long bits as well, so they're not like mean with the material. So they go in and click. There's a magnet there. And retention's really nice. There's not a lot of play, watch. In fact, I can't even show you on camera. Can you hear that? I am trying, listen. So you can't even see on camera the amount of play there is. So very well made. Nice precision piece. And they don't come out until you give them a little bit of force and then the magnet disengages. So there is just a magnet down there. There's no ball bearings and there's no little marks on here to act as a detent. And that paint, it's okay, that little descriptor paint on it. It's not thick, it's not like a plastic add-on or anything like that. It's certainly not like a torsion zone add-on or anything like that. So pop that on and it's fine. And you'll notice that they are stamped. So that is, you've got there. So if I can show you properly there, so T20. And it has the H, which just means Torx 20, H is the hole, so that has the hole there. There you go. So that means it's the security bit. Heads themselves pretty nice. I noticed, like I say, I've noticed a few little machines, debris bits. There, you see that? There's a tiny little bit of debris there, but you can take them out. Basically, what I think's happened is the factory isn't that clean, so you've got little bits, and as I described before, there's little bits, magnetic bits on there which were stopping the retention. But the easy clean off. It's just a lack of care when they put it together. But at $12. You've got to say, well, okay, maybe they're just knocking these out. One of the features of the box is if you're doing things one-handed, sometimes you've only got one hand, you can actually put it in there like that. Take your bit, boom. It's a nice feature, isn't it? If you're busy working on a piece of machinery, because it's difficult. I've done it myself, where you're working on something and you go, well, I need that bit, and then you put it in your hand, and then you're doing this while you're fiddling away with things. Yeah, it's doable, but it's irritating. So I'll show you there. So there, I've just done that one-handed. However, it's certainly nicer to have it in the box, which it stays in, and then you go, well, I need a Torx doodle, right, pop that in, boom, right, then get on with some work. So they've thought about this. I like how they've thought about the design. They just haven't thought about quality control possibly. But in regards to use, lovely, nice and smooth, really, really, really nice. I like this. In regards to what this is made out of, they are claiming chrome vanadium bits. They may be chrome vanadium, but the problem is at this price, who knows, so I'm not going to make any comments on that. They are claiming a 58 HRC, I think, in regards to, that's like the Rockwell scale, so for hardness. When it comes to precision, you're not putting a lot of torque in, and you shouldn't be jamming things in. They don't necessarily have to be mega hard or anything like that. Although I have been impressed with the Hauser ones here from Wiha. Very nice bits. Used these quite a few times, and they don't show any signs of wear whatsoever. But again, with a precision set, you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be showing a load of wear. So we'll get that out of the way. So let's talk about some of the good and bad points here. So close that. Right, let's pop this down and I'll move it around so you can have a look. Okay, so pros. I think that looks great. Look at that. It looks great. You can see what it is. Oh, there's my precision screwdriver. I like how they've done it. They've got the cutouts. They've thought about it so it's easy to open. I just wish they'd thought more about the retention system for the lid, because if you're going to throw this in bags, I can see bad things happening. Even though they are magnetically retained, a jolt can knock things out and then they're all over your bag. I don't know about that, but for a desk, certainly perfect. It feels nice to use, very nice to use. All these cosmetic things I'm whinging about, saying look at the state of that and a little bit of dust here and stuff, and look at the nick on that high spot. That doesn't affect how you use it, and it didn't affect me using it, and I still was able to carry out my work on electronics, no problem. And I enjoyed using it. Nice. It's got a little bit of heft to it, which feels like a little bit of quality. Although the quality control is slightly lacking, but it feels nice to use. It feels like a premium item when it's not. The magnetic bit retention in the box is nice. It reminds me of the House stuff from Wiha, so they go in and they stay in, and you're not having to worry about bits getting, I mean, if you look at this is the cheap way of doing it, the iFixit, they've used foam, and foam can wear down over time, although it certainly hasn't yet. And then some of the worst systems is when you just stick it in a free, look, I mean, that's like a percussion instrument. No, that's ludicrous. It sounds like someone collecting for charity. Come on, get your money out. And then this is similar. This is actually foam down the bottom. You can't see it. So okay retention. And I don't like the retention when you have, or I like that less anyway, I should say, where it is friction fit basically. So it goes in and stays in via friction. That's not so handy. It's not such an issue in this stubby because it's got nowhere to fall out, but I prefer magnetic, but then if it is magnetic, it's got to be nice and firm, so it's going to stay in and you feel confident. So I like the magnetic retention. I like the color-coded bits, but again, it falls down on here. Right, yellow's all the hex. Right, Robertson's and Triangle, and U. Right, so it's 3 different ones. I think they've run out of paint or something. I don't know what that's all about, but okay, they've tried. I think that cap is so smooth. I mean, look. Can't even hear it when it's in movement, but then obviously as you build the speed up, you can hear it. Now, I think that's because there's metal on metal, which I think it just feels to me like there's ball bearings in there, but I don't know. It feels like some of the mechanisms you get on certain lock knives, but anyway. And the low price, so $12 in free delivery. Very impressed. I really like it. I like the little depression in this as well. It gives you a little bit more control. So if you're doing this sort of thing, that's not generally how I do a lot of stuff. I'm more like this and working on things, but you've got that ability. I just think that they've thought about this. They've made it look nice. This swell is right. It's got the right texture. It's got just enough grip. That works beautifully. It's got the little hole in there, so you can do this sort of thing. You've got options. You can actually use this knurling. It's grippy enough, but still beautiful to use and get grip and work. The bits are nice and long. I mean, cons wise, I would say only magnets for the lid. If you're just putting this on a desk or around the house, it's not an issue. I realise that. And marks on the handle. Look, let's try and get a close look here. You see them? Not so good, but that's a quality control thing, because that's fine. Look, lovely. Ooh, nice machined. And then what happened there? Look, was that the new starter? That was his first day. Let me have a go. And then the machine stops. Well, what did you do? We'll just stick it out the door anyway. Someone will buy it. That's what it feels like. Or they were doing a rush order, who knows. But other than that, I love the design. I think it's nice. And I think they've thought about it. So I'm going to give this, bear in mind, for the price, $12. I've never heard of them, but it's nice. I will be using this. I can tell you that now. I have been using it. I mean, obviously, I've got this iHauser, which I love. The iFixit, don't like the lid so much. I've got some cheap ones, old ones. I've got all sorts of stuff. I really like my Hotu. I love that. Look at that. That's smooth as well. Beautiful. Really nice, but that's more magnetic. That is to carry. This I'm going to put on my desk right next to where I do a lot of my work. Look at that. Beautiful. Very impressed. So I'm going to give this a healthy 8. I just think they need to concentrate on quality control and they need to rethink this mechanism. Although, yes, you can fix it yourself. Like I say, I'll probably stick a zip tie on there, leave it slightly loose so I can do that. I don't know. Well, I'll think about it. If I come up with something or someone has any comments, stick them down below. I'll stick a link down below. It won't be an affiliate link. I'm not trying to make money or anything like that. I'm not associated with this company or anyone else. I didn't get this. You know, I bought this. Didn't get it for nothing, so this is an honest review. But I think this is worth looking at. I do have, just in case people are thinking, right, I'm going to run out and get one. I've got a pile of stuff all over here. And then in that pile, just bear in mind, I will be looking at the Mega iFixit Manta Precision set. Although it's quite interesting, it's precision and it's 1/4 inch. Remember I discussed 1/4 inch as your standard driver bits, and then your precision or smaller. So I will be looking at that. So anyone thinking, yeah, I must go and get one, in the meantime, probably get yourself one of them. But I've got so many tools I need to cover, and I will get to them when I have time. But in regards to this one, 8 out of 10, well done. I think it looks great. It's very nice to use. It's magnetic head. You've got magnetic lid. That can be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on how you use them. Color-coded bits to a degree. Those pink ones are a bit dodgy. Smooth driver cap and excellent price. And in regards cons, yeah, I've whinged about the magnets a bit, and those daft marks, that's a quality control issue, which is a shame, isn't it? Because that lets it down. Imagine if it didn't have that, what mark would I have given it? Think about that. Anyway, so 8 out of 10, thanks for joining me. If you think this is a load of rubbish and you think, I've got a much better one, you don't know what you're talking about, that's fine. I'm not an expert. Stick it down below, share it, and we'll help each other. It's a free speech channel. You can put whatever you want, nothing gets deleted. Okay, thank you very much for joining me. I will let you get on with your day now. Goodbye. Whee!